but she does like cheese.
Well, that's a good start.
Yeah, well, either stay at home with cake and ice cream and open presents and party, or come hang out the cheese party.
When the party does, you can be a cheese.
Pony rides? Pet zoo?
No, the pony
No?
ride.
Cow milking?
It took me 2 years to get them to let me bring a calf.
Who wouldn't let you bring a calf? SPCA?
What's that?
Who wouldn't let you bring a calf?
The park. We'll have a calf and a couple goats.
Alright. Alright, thank you all very much to the multitude of people who showed up. Welcome to the Tuesday, September 6th, Town of Pittsfield Council meeting. So with that, I will ask everyone to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. I'll ask for just a moment of silence, please. Very well. Thank you all very much. So before we move along, every time we do the allegiance, I don't hear that side of the room. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So you need to practice for next time.
Get the mic.
I'll volunteer when you guys do it next time. I'll do that. Call it on the job training. All right. So let's move on to number 2, please. The adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting held on August 16th, 2022, and the budget workshop held on August 23, 2022.
I make the motion we adopt the minutes of the regular meeting held on August 16th, 2022, and the budget workshop held on August 23rd, 2022.
I'll second it. All right, thank you very much. Any questions or comments on that, council? Corrections, comments, corrections, queries? Very good. Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of adoption of minutes for the regular meeting on August 16th and the budget workshop on August 23rd, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Adoption of minutes passes. Thank you for filling in that, Peter. I appreciate your efforts there. Kind of fun though, wasn't it?
No.
I usually ask questions where I already know the answer. That was one of them. So let's move on to number 3, presentations, congratulations, and introductions. Catherine, if you would, please.
Yes, briefly, for the community and economic development activities and events, we have items on the agenda regarding the Planning Initiative Program update, which is excellent, and our main DOT planner came down to go over the project with me last week. He was very helpful and talked about all the different components and the steps and everything, so we'll discuss that. The other items are listed under the town manager's report to conserve time. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Catherine. Let's move on to number 4, public hearings. Ordinance 22-08, please, Catherine.
Ordinance 22-08. The town of Pittsfield hereby ordains to accept all tax share payments of Brian L. and Heather L. Spencer, including interest and lien costs for the property at 702 Canaan Road, map 13, lot 7-2, the town having acquired said property as a result of automatic foreclosure of a 2019 property tax lien recorded in the Somerset Registry of Deeds on July 21st, 2020 at book 5575, page 165, which matured on January 21st, 2022. The town council further authorizes the town manager to execute a municipal quitclaim deed releasing the town's interest in said property to Brian L. and Heather L. Spencer.
All right, thank you, Catherine. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone, do we have anybody on the Zoom call?
We do not.
Okay, very well. Is there anyone in the audience? That would be you, Heather. Would you like to speak against ordinance 22-08? Anyone wish to speak in favor of ordinance 22-08? Very well. Public discussion is closed. Council, any questions or comments on this?
I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance 22-08.
I'll second it. Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Very well. Hearing none, since ready to vote, all those in favor of ordinance 22-08, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Ordinance 22-08 passes. So with that, let's move on to reports. Number 5, council committees, finance committee.
Which is at the budget workshop.
Okay, very well. Ordinance committee,
Haven't met.
recycling committee.
Recycling will start up in January of 2023.
Very well. Catherine, would you like to provide information planning board rec committee, please?
There are several projects wandering around, but they have not been filed yet for the planning board. And the planning board members have been talking about having a workshop to talk about solar projects and the requirements that we have in the site plan review ordinance. Recreation Committee had a meeting at the end of August, and I expect that they will have a monthly meeting. Thank you.
All right. Before we move on, the planning board, do they have a regular report that they provide? I certainly don't think they have one that the council reviews.
No, however, when they have meetings, we can supply a copy of their meeting minutes.
Yes, if we would, please. Those aren't on a regular basis, just as needed.
They are scheduled for the second Monday of each month, however, canceled if applications do not come in. However, if we're going to be working on the comprehensive plan, the planning board will become very active.
Okay. What I'd like to do, as we've requested with the CEO in other departments, could we have them, even if they have a canceled meeting, provide the basic form, no meeting called due to no action, whatnot, so that we have a regular report from the planning board once a month?
I can put them in with the department meetings.
If you would, please. Appreciate that very much. I don't know if that's practical with the rec committee just yet. Just something I want to consider. Because I like to have them be able to track and document something that we can review ourselves instead of, second or third hand through you.
The recreation director does submit a report, so we could just have to add a little bit about the committee.
Very well then. Okay, it's just the planning board I was thinking of then. Okay. All right, let's move on to letter C, please. Town manager report. Catherine.
The town council received a copy of the town manager's report. There are copies out for the public. Number 1, and I will briefly go through these items, is the budget calendar for 2023. The revised budget calendar that was approved by the council is attached as attachment 1. Copies are at the town office, and the 50 that I put out, there appear to be about 10 left, so it is of interest to people. Number 2, just to let councilors know who are not on P, that we do have an economic development project for the Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation, in which they have received a proposal regarding the purchase of the theater. And so that would be a confidential proposal until it gets to the council level. So people are needing to review the materials and giving a recommendation with full background materials to the town council. Number 3 is the audit for the period ending 12/31/2021. And as the auditor discussed at the budget workshop, I put this in the town manager's report because a couple of the councils were not able to attend the budget workshop. But basically, the audit was unqualified, which is the finding the town would want. The auditor was very happy with the audit, and there is a management letter, and there's always a management letter issued. And there's always items that can be approved upon. And the 3 items that we have are minor items. 1, to remove outstanding checks over 6 months old, and that has been done. Those have been left on the bank reconciliation purposely, because sometimes state checks that we send out aren't cashed in 4, 5, 6 months. So if we put a stop work order on it, and stop it, we have to issue another one, and there's a cost to it and everything. And some checks were lost in the mail, and we also have people that, if the checks are small, just don't cash them. But I am doing that now, and we will remind people people, they need to cash their checks. Second is the fixed assets, and some of the counselors were interested in getting a copy of that. I have not received it yet. I don't have the whole fixed assets report. I just have the report that goes in each year and the report that's signed. But when that comes in, you get a copy of it. The auditor had indicated that there were 2 fixed assets that were missed, and I tracked them back. They appear to be from 2019 audit that was done during the COVID shutdown, which was a difficult audit to do, and luckily over with. Number 3 was that the audit was completed on time, but the auditor said we need to start earlier, which we agree with. We've been behind since COVID, basically on the audits, and the auditors have been behind too, but we seem to be getting caught up, so that's good. So we'll start planning for the 2022 audit in December. And so in 2023, we should be able to hit the ground going here. Hopefully there won't be staff illnesses and COVID so we get shut down. Number 4 are the taxes. The assessor, we have a new assessor, and everybody's on their vacations and we're back working on the tax commitment, and we believe the tax commitment will be set on this Thursday, and so then tax bills will go out the next week. There were some complications because of the TRIO conversion, and the assessors had trouble, as well as all of us, on different items. So tickets were filed, and TRIO was very helpful, but it did take a while to get items corrected so that they could enter the information correctly and check everything to make sure it stayed in the program. Number 5 are the tax liens. The tax liens went on. We issued the 30-day notices prior to the TRIO conversion, understanding that that would be a good thing to do. So we did do that, and there were some complications. However, we did get everything filed, and again, TRIO was very helpful. It took a while, but they were able to fix the tax liens that didn't convert over correctly. And so $168,840.03 in taxes was placed in lien, which is similar to the prior years. For the open positions recruitment, we've had some good news. We have a lot of applications that have come in from Indeed, so I've got almost a day of interviews here coming up. And we have, for police officers, hired 1 officer. Unfortunately, one of the officers who left came back and is working for the town until the end of the year, so that's very good too. So we still do need to recruit regarding the police, public works, which will be our next focus, and I think that the office positions will be picked up. There were some comments at the last meeting regarding the visibility of the applications that we have filed with the job ads. And on the MMA website, I'll be very brief. The jobs have been posted since the positions were available. Interested parties go to the MMA website, they sign up, and they go look at the job bank. So I did do a Google search, and the only position that showed up was the deputy tax collector, and I had Pittsfield in front of it. So the other ones did not show up on the Google search, but obviously when you're in the job bank and on the MMA website, everything shows up, along with the almost 500 jobs on there, which is crazy, but the way of the world. So I went in and tried to put Pittsfield into the other jobs that we had there, and it didn't work, so I have to take them all out. But if I put Pittsfield on them, I think that they'll show up on the Google search, so that would be very good.
I have a question, Catherine. Sorry to interrupt, but
That's okay.
you said the Indeed posts are bringing in candidates, but then when you go into the Google, when you search Google by those jobs, it doesn't return.
For the MMA website,
Right.
It does it, unless you put Pittsfield, which is very interesting. I had by error put Pittsfield on in front of the deputy tax collector. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to just have the title. And that one shows up on Google, but all the ones that I did correctly according to their instructions did not.
So what was the issue with Indeed last time? Because there was nothing on Indeed the last time. We were unable to find any jobs, but then you have all these applicants. So there must have been something on the back end that wasn't. I'm just because we had asked what was the resolution to that issue at the last meeting.
Right,
Because
and
we
so
couldn't find it.
they were on there, and I went in, and they are there. But I have to be careful on my credit card because I'm getting to get an issue on the expenditures and everything, so then it locks up and then I can't use the credit card anymore.
So it's like the payment method is an issue, and maybe Indeed isn't putting them up if the payment method doesn't go through in a month or
It's
something?
because if we put everything on there all the time, I'm way over the maximum on my credit card.
Is it the credit card or a gift card? Because we talked
No,
about
it's credit card.
It's an actual credit card.
Yeah, I
So
use
you
one
put it on your
credit card.
personal credit card and you expense it?
Yeah. I haven't done it yet.
We've
because
talked
I'm
about
busy.
this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
another
how-
thing that we use gift cards and credit cards and it's just.
No, I'm not using any gift cards. I use those. for
But it's the same
other-
concept. We're not using a town credit card. And I know it's in the charter, but geez, it's so efficient, inefficient.
It's an item.
That'll
definitely-
segue within what I want to bring up here at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. That'll definitely, when you do a charter review, something, back in the 1970s, they didn't really use credit cards much, if they even had them. So on the Indeed, I do have the items in there, but I have to be careful how I have them and how much I spend, because the credit card will get, maxed out and then we're stuck, and we don't want it to shut down.
So that's why the jobs weren't showing up, is because of the way they were listed with the Pittsfield in the description, or because there
That
wasn't
was-
good payment?
Yeah, we've got 3 places where we have the maximum items here. The MMA website, you're not supposed to put the name of the town in front of the position, but I did by
Okay.
mistake. And so that one shows up on Google, but the other ones just show up on the job bank. So I'm thinking I'll go back in and do that. I doubt anybody's going to be monitoring it, there's so many there.
Not on MMA. I mean, that's like, I feel like unless someone's looking specifically for a town occupation,
Yeah, they
job,
are.
they're not going to go there to look. I mean, that's like, I've gone onto that. It's extremely non-user friendly. You're not going to find something unless you're
Yeah, it's
specifically.
not intuitive.
No, but
No.
you might type in jobs in Pittsfield, Maine into Google, and then whatever that would bring up, like Indeed, jobs in any of those types of places, will be more likely to find a specific person.
So the people that work for municipalities go straight to MMA, to the job bank automatically. That's
Right.
what they do. But there were so many on, I found that if you're looking for something, because I was looking up, how to advertise something, and I wanted to look, you put in the town or some towns, then they come up really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the Pittsfield job on Indeed, the
Yeah.
financial
Finance
clerk.
clerk, but that's the only one that's posted?
But that's the one I can see.
Right.
So the job bank for the state of Maine is another free asset. We've gotten several inquiries from that. Every month, the jobs roll over. I think that didn't show up because the jobs had rolled over. You have to get the automatic expiration. So that came in after the council meeting, so I clicked that. But it also came in today, too. So I think this has to do with vacations and when the person that's running it puts it in. So when we get to Indeed, I've been told that, from my discussion with people, that the job site, the seekers are signed up for the site, so they see our ads, and then we can search the resumes, which we have, and send the emails to people. So I've tried to perform Google searches, and the jobs don't come up, as far as I can see. When you go to the Indeed site, they do, but they don't show up on Google.
So, quick question, maybe I'm just old school here, but do people normally go on Google to search for jobs? Wouldn't they use LinkedIn, Jobs in Maine, and Indeed?
I have Lincoln, they.
Yeah, no, but why would they be looking on Google for jobs? Does Google have a job site on, of which I'm unaware of?
Well, Google was mentioned, searches were mentioned at the last meeting, so I wanted to answer the question.
Oh, okay.
I think some people might. I would go to the sites, I would think.
If you type in jobs at Pittsfield, Maine, Google will, at a high level, find all of the different search engine, like your
Right.
all those, and
Right.
will filter you directly to those jobs. And
Right.
it's usually by relevant date or relevance or whatever. So it depends on how this user is searching, but most of those apps are.
But we're getting good hits on Indeed at least.
Well, there's only one job that I can see
For the
that's
financial
posted,
clerk, absolutely.
but that's the only right. So
That's the
this
only
is.
job posted though.
As we go over the vacancies and trying to get a better handle on this as a council, knowing the number of vacant positions and then how long those positions have been vacant and then how many candidates we either have or none by job type is a lot easier. So I'm reading this here and it looks like several applicants from Indeed are in second interviews for the assistant. That's-
Yes.
So that's one position open. Deputy treasurer, tax collector. So it just says.
We haven't had, we've had maybe 2 or 3. Remember,
Applicants?
it's a tax collector position and not something that's perceived as a user-friendly job.
Right, and then the financial collector says no vacancy. I'm assuming you've hired somebody.
Yeah, there is no vacancy. However, you can hire financial clerks a lot easier than any of these other positions.
And that's the job that's posted.
Yes.
So that one's filled though, is what you're saying. It's
We
no
have
vacancy.
2 financial clerk positions, so
Oh, so there's 2.
that's been filled. However, if we take the financial clerk off and just put in the HR position of tax collector, I had those in there, and you didn't get any, you might get 2. So it's easier to get financial clerks, and as I've discussed at a couple of meetings, if we were to get really qualified financial clerks, we train them at the counter, and then we can train them on other duties and promote them.
Right, so you cross-train people.
Yes.
You call it a financial clerk, but it's really 2 positions. One's doing mostly this activity, they cross-train to the other activity. So,
Yes.
so there's one of those jobs open, and that's the one that's here, and one that's been filled. Is that what you're-
Financial clerk is filled, but if we take the financial clerk off and we just leave the tax collector and the HR, we won't get any, because this is what I did before. I advertised those before, not the financial clerk, and we hardly got any.
Right, I think I follow you. It's
This is how we're gonna get.
you're just using that as the name of the job, but you're
Yeah.
really just trying to lure
Drop
people
it.
in so you can.
It's a
yeah.
bait and switch.
Yeah, gotcha.
And it does work.
And then there's a public work driver, equipment operator. It says 1 to 2 positions open.
To get hired to do
So,
the job and not doing it.
Yeah, it depends on how many
So how
part-timers
long
we
until they
have.
stay?
So how many FTEs are there that are needed? So it says we've hired several part-timers. Doesn't that equal 1 to 2 people, like 1.5? Like how are you guys calculating your vacancy rate? That's like sort of what I've been trying to get at for like a couple months now. How are we determining how many positions we need to fill based on hours that are needed to be worked?
All
That's
right,
my
so
question.
the only item that has the part-time positions is public works, because that's what we've been able to attract.
So it's
in.
easier to get multiple part-timers than
Yeah.
one full-timer.
Much
Well, we've
easier.
got one part-timer that's taking a full-time slot at this point.
And that only goes for so long, right? I mean, according to the law in the state, you can only do that for so long
No,
before you have to offer.
We can continue on.
Oh, okay.
We just happen to have somebody that's working another job that can
Fill
fill
that.
vacant time, so.
Gotcha.
But there's still one vacancy, 1.5, and then 10 will be retiring in the fall, so it'll actually continue.
So there'll be another one this
So,
fall or next fall?
Yeah, right off.
So our next big
Before, so we
emphasis-
start advertising.
Our next big emphasis will be public works. So we are trying to work with a few different companies to see if people who are laid off in the winter could come and work for us during the winter.
Okay. And then police is, you said there's 2 openings because we had one come back and then
Yes.
one that got filled. And then the fire department, we don't worry about because
Yeah,
they're.
that's gone on every year I've been a town manager, and that's always recruiting.
So if we want with a police officer, is there anything you can share publicly about the police chief? Anything you can share publicly?
I would say publicly that he plans to retire. He will not be coming back, which we learned, and we're working on the details of that.
Okay. So there will be another position.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we have a deputy treasurer, tax collector vacancy, that should be posted, even though we may not get it.
It is.
But it should be posted.
It is posted, but my credit card will run out in a week or 2 weeks of the whole month. So if I leave the financial clerk in, I can use the credit card all month and it won't run out until the end of the month. So then we get more applications.
So you're basically paying to post one position, which is cheaper, right? And then you'll try to get those applicants that come in through that one avenue, and then you try to spread them out on the back end behind the jobs that are open. That makes sense. But as long as the limiting factor isn't that the credit card's going to run out, because that seems like a problem in another situation.
That's another
That's
issue.
another whole issue.
Yeah.
But I'm counting 7 open positions currently across the board, or is that an underestimate? We have 2 police officer, we're not counting fire, 1 to 2 public works, a couple of financial clerks, we'll call them, but It could be used for the HR assistant or whatever. There's
Right.
a couple there, and then, so I'm counting roughly 6 to 7 open positions.
I'm counting 5 to 6.
Oh, okay.
So let's say 6.
So 6. So there's 6 open positions out of however many. And it seems like this list has not changed to me in a long time, like this particular list. So,
I have left the financial clerks on.
Yeah.
Because that's how I'm
Yeah.
going to get the other positions.
but I guess my next thought is recruitment. How, I mean, not that to say that your efforts aren't working, but on some level, like, are we utilizing resources that we could pay for potentially to help recruit, or is that just a wash?
We should not have this discussion that you have to bait and switch, advertise about finance clerk because we can't afford per the credit card that you use or don't use, that we can't afford to actually hire a deputy treasurer or tax collector. Because there may be someone out there just really loves being a deputy treasurer or tax collector and always say, financial clerk, I'm not going to do that.
Well, they're listed in
No, I understand.
other locations.
That's not my point.
It's just
My-
for Indeed.
My point is that if we have this discussion next year that we can't post these jobs because there's a financial issue that they're of payment, we got to rob Peter to pay Paul to compensate this other person. I think that's something that needs to be discussed, and that will probably segue into what I wanted to discuss at the end of the meeting.
Well, this is just my credit card that I'm using. I don't want to use my other credit card because then we'll
No,
start.
no, I understand. The fact that we're talking about you using your own credit card to pay for a advertisement for a town position is a discussion we should not have to have.
Oh, I would agree.
Okay, but that's my only point.
But honestly, we're kind of hanging the idea that we can't attract people because of the credit card, right?
Well, no.
And it's all hinging back to the fact that we can't pay for these ads, and I do not want that to be an excuse of why we can't attract people. Like, I'm with you. Like, I want to have all the jobs posted all the time until the job's filled, regardless of what it costs. I mean, it really needs to happen. These positions are important to have to support the town.
Do we have these positions listed on our own website?
Yes.
Okay.
We have them listed on a whole variety of free websites.
Okay. All right.
It's just that for Indeed, we're limited. And if I
Okay.
post everything, I run out of money on my credit card.
I understand.
And I have to write off.
I'm saying, how do we fix it, right? I'm not saying this is your fault. I'm saying, how does it get fixed?
That's a
Tonight,
discussion
right now.
per charter, and that's what I wanted to bring up at the end. There are several things I want to discuss. That'll be included
Yeah, this is the first time I've run into this because normally,
because we haven't used Indeed.
Right, normally, we haven't used Indeed, and normally you can use a purchase order and there's no issue. It's rare when this would happen.
Yep.
Well, I guess the global feel, and from my perspective, is that we've had a lot of these positions vacant for a long time, and I know there's a labor shortage, and I know, but some of this fundamentally feels like we could maybe do it better, and is it time to think about adding resources to try to help solve this issue that we obviously cannot solve all on our own?
Right.
Like, not that, maybe it's not solvable, maybe we call a recruiting firm and we get a, say, hey, we have 7 positions and we help filling them, whoever, temp agency, I don't even care. We've talked about virtual assistants, like Craig had mentioned that back a while. I don't know if we ever followed up on that. Like people who can do work from home remotely. I know that that's not all pieces of the work that need to be done, but there are things that could be done potentially virtually. And we're just not moving that ball down the road. So my question is, do we find a way to do that and put money toward it? If it would help. And I think this feels like a lot of empty spots.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think ultimately people are suffering. Like, I think the workers of Pittsfield are suffering. They carry more of a load because we can't figure out how to hire people. And we got to figure out. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm saying collectively we need to come up with a solution pretty quickly, or the jobs aren't needed as far as I'm concerned.
Right, and there's people
If you don't have to
retire.
fill these jobs, and they're not needed. Well, let's get serious about hiring because they are needed.
Or have we right-sized, incidentally, like, are we right-sized and we need to eliminate these vacant positions and, like,
And move on.
right.
Adjust
So,
the
like,
budgets.
maybe,
Right.
how long can you go without these positions? I mean, it's been months and months and months, and are we saying the town is running well? Is the health of it, like, another metric that helps us determine that would be, like, percent overtime rate, which I've asked for, to get a better feel for, are we burning everyone's midnight oil to the point where we're on the brink of losing everybody? Or are people like, no, I like working for, $55 an hour, however many hours a week. Like, is it that we're okay and this is doable, or are we not? And the health of the workforce is very strained.
So in the middle of all this has been the Trio conversion, which
Right.
has been extremely difficult and taken up hundreds of hours.
Right.
So that it appears to finally be done. We only have maybe 5 or 6 open tickets today. There'll probably be more tomorrow because we're finding things. But the finances all equal like they're supposed to, so
Yeah.
that's good. Now we're working in the taxes and the water and sewer. So I'll be able to, for the budget, as I indicated, to make those charts, but I need Trio to help me with that because it's set up, it appears you can't do it, but I know you can. It just doesn't look user-friendly. And I used to do those charts for health insurance, overtime, personnel costs. I think we did office supplies too, because that was in everybody's budget. But that went away several years ago. So Trio's going to have to help me with that. But we need to do the essentials first,
Right.
which is correct people's tax payments when they come in
Yeah.
and they make their payment and it automatically goes in and you can't stop it. And it goes to the year 2004. You know, it's supposed to be in the year 2022.
Right.
So we have to get that taken care of. Then we'll do the overtime and health insurance and all the other items for the budget.
So this idea of the recruitment being a bit more efficient, a lot more coverage, it does need to be addressed. I would say let's talk about it during the budget session or sessions.
Actually,
'Cause
that's a good idea.
That may have an impact. We consider either a recruitment or working with Indeed or coming up with an X amount. Here's what we have advertised for the year. Hopefully we'll get to the point where we won't have to have that because we've been able to retain people that we used to in the past. So for the sake of expediency, let's continue on, if you will, please,
All
Catherine.
right, yes, and as you know,
Once again.
this has never been an issue because we've always used ads
Yep.
and everything, but now people go to use the electronic means. So we have to change too. So going on to number 7, computer services, we've had a lot of tickets pulled. Trio has been very helpful. The tax bills, it appears the tax commitment can take place this week, and so we'll find out very quickly if the tax bills can be issued properly and everything, and we'll double check all of those. Water sewer bills are going out. We have the Mueller system for the Easy Reader that goes automatically up and down the roads. The Easy Reader and New Trio do not communicate, and so after several weeks of working with the companies, we did get the bills for books 1 and 2 out. The bills for books 3 and 4 have been read. There's 420 bills. They register, but it says that they're all zero. But in one part, it says that they've got the correct amount. So this is something that the Trio tickets and the Mueller tickets have been pulled for. And so we'll keep working on that until it's correct, which is what we did for books 1 and 2. I mean, I know some places will just issue them, and I've seen bills just issued from, larger entities, but we're not going to issue them until they're correct and everything reconciles. And so hopefully that will be soon, and then we'll go to book 5 and 6, book 7, and then we'll be on schedule. And the Trio conversion will be totally over with. Yay. I will say that we did talk to some towns, and they said in a year they still have some issues, so hopefully it will be not many. Grant applications, I'll just mention that local infrastructure org sign up. So I haven't heard back from them yet, but hopefully that would be a way to get some insight into the stimulus funding that's coming for infrastructure. We have the 2022 grant for municipal stream crossing upgrades. This requires an engineer, and our engineer has been extremely busy, so that the projects have been delayed all year. So we may not be able to apply for that, but we'll talk about it a little bit more. Efficiency Main small municipality retrofits. We'll be checking on the air conditioning HVAC projects. We did have a project in which we got funding for the lighting. So we'll find out if we're eligible or we have to wait longer to apply for some other projects or heat pumps, in some of the smaller buildings. We put in for the airport grant reimbursements to 2 of the airport hangar grants, so that was good. Police grants update. We continue to work on this. We got some reimbursement for the grant that was going to run out on August 31st, so we got total reimbursement, so there's 0 cost. I thought it was interesting, so I mentioned the COPS grant, we got contacted by the DOJ listing our community, and it looked like over 85 communities that were impacted by the software or computer issue that happened when we were filing the application. So we were advised in August that we got an extension from June 17th, when everything was due, to June 30th, but we didn't know until August, so we couldn't apply. And all the towns were listed on there, so that was interesting. But we had submitted it several times before the deadline and several times afterwards. So at some point, I will get the grant application out of the computer and we'll have it for next year. And quickly going on. we
So,
got this-
sorry, the grant,
Yeah,
this is hard for me to understand.
yeah.
There was a software, there was an issue with the application submission, and that made it so they didn't extend the deadline
They
based on
did
85.
extend it, but we didn't find out till August. The whole group found out in August that it was extended from June 17th at whatever, 8 o'clock, then
Right.
they bring it out. We had till June 30th, but we didn't know till, a couple months later.
And they did do an appeal for those entities that had
Well, we're
submitted
still
it.
all listed for an appeal, but I don't know where it's going. But I feel bad that this happened, but evidently we're a good company. There were major cities, a lot of universities, a lot of schools were listed because of the school resource officers.
Well, so now that is, okay. This is tricky because it's my understanding that grant, that week that was due, there was someone that was supposed to work to help resolve that, and they didn't work with you that week on that, right? Or they did? Because
They did, not in the way we thought was going to
Right.
be, but they did
it was
help.
my understanding it never got submitted, but now, okay.
No, it was submitted.
It was submitted, but okay.
It actually sounded pretty good.
It's not just us, bottom line.
No.
Right.
It
But,
was something on the grantees.
Right.
And grant
Or-
holders.
Usually, they would say, this is a problem of ours, not the people who applied, and we would reopen it for you to supply, and then, so that's just interesting. I've never heard of that.
No, that was totally, the whole thing was totally bizarre.
Yeah, okay.
But in any case, there was an application in there that I can't get out, and it sounds really good, but we did it really quickly, but it sounded good. So number 9 is the swimming pool cover, which is on order. We went through a number of companies, including the original company, and it just took a long period of time because it was a specialty item. So we did get it ordered. It was over the bid cap and approved as an emergency purchase. Public Works does have a temporary measure that will take care of us for a while. With everything seems to be behind schedule. So if this is behind schedule, we should be all set in dealing with the leaves and the debris until we get to the winter. If it's not here by winter and we start piling up snow, the temporary measure may not work. So hopefully it will be here. Philbrook Enterprises thought it would be here in a 4-week period, so we'll hope that does happen. Many people worked on that, and I thank everyone. This is one of the most difficult purchases that we had in the last 3 years, but it was a specialty, and it did have some unique measurements involved. And we would recommend that once we get this new pool cover in and we watch it, see how it works, on the capital improvement plan, we should list a pool cover at a certain period of time based upon what the company's indicated it should last. If its lifespan is 7 years, then it should be ordered, maybe put it on there for 5 years because the town always runs behind. If it's 15 years, put it on at 13 years. And then Public Works, very quickly, we went through the paving. The company was very good to work with, but they had numerous issues that came up and were plagued with rescheduling items because of all the jobs and issues that were happening. And Donnie did a very good job dealing with the company when they showed up by the school to start paving at the time that buses and the vehicles were coming down. He instructed them to stop and to wait for the school to go into session, which they did, and they were very good about that, and to be done and out of that area when school let out, which they did do. So Most of the roads are paved. Now, because they were so far behind schedule, we're really concerned about the binder course, which needs to be put on before it gets too late in the year. So we'll start calling them shortly here. As I understand it, there's so much work out there and there's not enough capacity to take care of everything that everyone wants paved, so your good companies are just overloaded with paving projects. And the last few items, I'm going to leave the code enforcement for last. Waste disposal, Don and I'll be going over the current contract with Waste Management and its options and everything. We'll be looking at energy efficiency because CMP has submitted a 3-year rate plan increase, and so considering the rate increase we've already had on some of our accounts, we're going to need to look at energy efficiency very closely and see if we want to issue an RFP to get some assistance in that area. And I'll note that the annual Cheese Festival is coming up on September 11th, and the annual Household Hazardous Waste Day will be on October 1st. And then for code enforcement, I won't go down through all of this, but you have your updated code enforcement schedule matrix, and I wrote down the different dates for the letters that have gone out on the priority projects as well as some of the others. We have on Washington Street the date by which the items were to be addressed. There's quite a lengthy list of items to address on that property. That has expired, but their appeal process has not expired. It will expire in about 15 days. On the Webb Road, the appeal process has expired as well as the dates by which they were to have items taken care of. And the council did approve an order to enter the property. Going to court will be very expensive, so we'll try to avoid that, but we may need to have to use it and go forward with that.
So where are we with that now? We've given permission to enter the property. What's going on with that now?
So we've given permission for the town to go to court to get an order to enter the property. So the alternate code officer indicated that this was quite expensive, and so we should try to get into the property one more time before we talk to the town attorney about starting the process and going through everything.
So going before a judge, presenting arguments to get an order to go
Yes.
to a property is expensive.
Yes. He said it, Al said it would be about $5,000. I know. So if we can get in there
Who looks for
somehow.
who, I guess.
Well, we can, I mean, I was told that drones you can use drones to fly over and take photos, and those are usable, according to FDA or whatever it is.
There's different opinions. The town attorney has said
You
no.
only own about 6 inches above your grass line, I'm pretty sure, so, and if you shoot down or do anything to a drone, it's like a federal offense.
Mhm. Yep.
So why can't we just use what we have for information and
So the
pursue
the information
violations?
the information we have now is taken by somebody else, so we should not use that. We would have to testify it was true information, so we would be dragging those people into court, which I don't think they intended or should be exposed to that. Now, if the town was to get a drone, the town attorney has recommended against that, but I understand it's sort of 50-50 if it's okay or not.
So why did the town attorney recommend against it? Is it legal or not?
Right.
Has it been determined whether it's even legal?
I've been told it's murky and we should stay away from it.
Okay.
Is that
Well,
because of
if
who
you're-
took the drone photos and not because of, no, I'm saying
If
if
you're
the
using
town
them,
owned a drone
Just
in
Oh,
the
our,
fact of using a drone for.
Well, you're using them on all these other properties, what's the difference?
For court actions?
Right. What's
I
the
don't
difference?
know about that.
We've never used.
Well, that you
That was
use
those,
those.
the drone photos you're talking about for Webb Road, that was to.
No, I'm not saying in
awareness.
Web Road, I'm saying everywhere else.
We haven't
I'm
used
not
one.
aware of that.
No.
They were drone pictures.
it was
I think
The
Chipper-
friend garage definitely was. You're not seeing
Yeah,
above that
But
without the
there's
drone.
been no action, that's not a court action,
Right.
that's informational, we can't use that to go to court,
Okay.
is
Well,
what the determination is. Because we're looking,
Can the town attorney provide the information to us that says she doesn't recommend it based on some kind of
Yes, we can do that.
legal document? Because I don't necessarily agree.
Because it sounds like it's going to cost us thousands of dollars allegedly to
Go do
pursue
something now.
something, but then we also can't use evidence that they're in violation, or we run a risk then of being being litigation that we would
Right.
then have to fight. But so I guess I would say if you had to choose between those two paths, you maybe will get compliance if you go with the drone photos and maybe not have any legal problem, and then you can use them, or you just pay all this money just to be able to
Walk
say.
into
But
there.
if you have the proof, you might as well take the chance 50-50 that
you're
you can
talking
use it
about,
for a
you're
benefit.
talking about liability of exposure. If it is found that one judge doesn't think having a drone used is proper and the other one does. If our town attorney says it's murky at best, I would tend to shy away from it.
Or maybe we can have a discussion with her about that. I don't know how
But
to.
hence why Jason had asked for her ruling on
I
that.
can get more
Yeah,
information.
if you would, please.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, well, that was Al's estimate based upon what he went through on another case.
The $5,000.
Yes, and now our case could be less or more, hopefully less. But we'll see. We'll see if we can get in there one more time. And then the rest of these all have updates on what has taken place. The Teltoma Avenue one, the messy yard, nothing has happened, so we're going to have to pursue that one with yet another letter. But there has been progress at several places. Carriage Estates will be a bit more complicated. So the alternate code officer will now have some time. He was out for a while, unable to come in, but he's going to work with myself, and we're going to get some of these taken care of. Success story is the Teltoma Avenue at the corner with Lancey Street, because now the barn is coming down and they're working on the building. It's full, but they seem to want to work with the town. We did have some improvements at the Pittsfield Golf Station. We still have more to do, but luckily they did do a big grass cutting area, put the tires into piles, although we did say they needed to take the tires out. And so we will encourage them to remove the unregistered vehicles, because that would give them more parking and actually be a good thing. And then the junk that's out back should be removed. And frankly, people have been going down there and stealing that, which he leaves it out there so they can take it. But it would be better just to take it someplace and get some money for it. And then there's a variety of other ones in which we've had some discussions. Some people have stopped doing items that they shouldn't be doing. And so there has been some progress here. But I would say the main one should be the Washington Street. That house is in total disorder. The Webb Road, that property is in total disorder. The Teltoma Avenue one needs to be straightened out, and can be easily, no matter what junk gets brought in, taken out after we get after the people. They didn't bring in other things. And it's unsightly. It's the avenue that people use when they come in from the airport to go in town and do business, and it really should not be there, as well as some other locations. Carriage Estates has some issues, and the owner of Carriage Estates has indicated will give us, the letters, and we'll say the town wants these things done, and we said, look, we don't have to issue individual letters to each tenant. You're in charge of the park. You own the park. You own the property. This is your responsibility. These are your tenants. So that's the approach that we're taking.
That's the easiest one to deal with.
Yes. Thank you. I'm all done.
Did you say you had that updated copy? This is the copy I have from the last meeting. I didn't see it in the packet. Did you have an updated copy with each of those things on it, or no? Did I miss it? I'm
I
looking
thought
at-
I put it out on the.
Do you guys have it?
No, I didn't see it either.
It's not in the package. So I just assumed usually we get a physical copy when we come in.
Yeah, it's,
Well, I'm wondering why
That's okay. You can just email it to me anytime.
Yeah.
I want to keep track because
You
I'm
connect it to the
following.
same report as an email.
I can, yes. It will read funny, but yes.
Yeah,
Because
whatever.
it's on the lawn.
Yeah.
All right, well, they are someplace in the room here.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Couple of quick notes before we move on to the next item, Catherine, on this town manager report. I wonder if we could, I know I've asked before, kind of wean this down a little bit. Let's look on page 5. You got items from July 19th, August 2nd, July 5th, July 19th. Let's cut out the stuff that's already been reported a dozen times already. and make it more of a bullet point and try to cut back on the narrative.
All right.
Be a lot quicker.
So
Okay?
I keep that on there until the items are completed, but I can take everything off and just have an update.
Having that note that Plymouth Engineers will request for a rebid back in July, it's not necessary now.
Okay.
I don't believe it's necessary. Unless the council says I'm wrong, I think you can make it a little bit more efficient. And it'd be a lot easier for you to maintain and do the report.
Well, that's
Just
okay.
bullet points be a lot
I'll
easier.
do that one for the councilors, and then I'll keep my list so I can keep track of
I
it.
just think it'd be a lot more efficient going through this. All right, thank you, Catherine. That takes care of, let me go back to page number 5, reports. Number 6, there is no business, no old business. Number 7, new business. Let's start with resolution 22-82, please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-82, resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to execute the Maine Department of Transportation, Maine DOT, letter of intent indicating that the town seeks to move forward to a memo of understanding, MOU, with the Maine DOT for the Planning Partnership Initiative for Main Street downtown.
Look for a motion from council, please.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 22-82.
I'll second it. Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any discussions? Questions, comments? This has been coming to fruition here for a while.
So do we know where our grants are that we stood to lose?
Everything is secure at this moment. Most of them will be able to be extended. The only one that would be at risk would be the CDGB, because that goes from year to year, and they said they do not want to renew it again. So in that case, it was remarked, next June 30th, they may be able to write a new grant, or we should spend the money on something beforehand. But all the others are fine. The project canopies are small ones that have expired, but frankly, we get those all the time, so we can just renew those.
What was the amount of that grant?
The project canopies in total, with the match, is around 20,000. That's both of them. And those we have them in the computer. We can just issue them again and make the changes that are necessary.
It was brought up to me that an interested party was talking about the area study going around the backside of MCI, and then coming up by Stinson. You know what I mean? Like going by Hancock Lumber and coming around Industrial Park. Not going through Industrial Park, but that loop around, and then back into like the main street by whatever, Library Street.
So circling MCI?
More or less.
Is that something we want to add to the scope?
I don't know. I was just saying somebody brought it up. I figured I'd bring it up now. So
That would be specifically beneficial. This is a downtown, overall town.
okay.
All that would benefit, I'm guessing.
I think the resident was just thinking of going back so it connects into Industrial Park, which is kind of a big part of.
Yeah. Well, right now it's going down to
that point.
It's
Yeah.
going back to the back entrance of Stinson Street, Industrial Street.
Right. Okay. No, I just wanted to bring it up because it was asked to be brought up.
I don't know if there'd be enough money in scope for that extra work.
Sure. No, that's fine.
There is one other item we might want to add to the scope, to put in, this would be an item based upon the DOT schedule, but Madawaska Road is getting really rough. And it's got dug up because I got the grant so that we could put the sewer line in so that SAS could be developed. And so that disrupted the schedule, of getting it done. So they put it off 1 year, and then it got put off many years. So we may want to add in Madawaska, road, and they may or may not, accept it.
If it's not going to be addressed any other way, I would definitely say it should be in there. It's terrible.
So this
I don't know
resolution,
how they should just do it on their own.
so this resolution 22-82 merely authorizes the town to enter into this letter of intent with the DOT. That's it.
That has the scope, we have the scope that we agreed on at the last meeting. And so
the scope's
issue
already
came
there.
up. And so if we're gonna make any changes to the scope, we should make it right now.
Well, no, hold on here. We've already agreed upon the original scope.
You did.
We're going to have a letter of intent in agreement with the DOT to work with them. It's going to be segued into Resolution 22-83. So now we're talking at the 11th hour about changing scope, adding more stuff.
Right.
We've had this discussion.
You did.
Why are we even talking about adding Madawaska on? Well, is that even practical now? Why was that not brought up before? Am I being completely out of line by asking that question?
He should have done both.
I think it was discussed before.
But it wasn't added though, for whatever reason.
Why don't I
Yeah.
add it to the letter but not the scope and just we need to remind them that Madawaska can't be forgotten about for years until Main Street is taken care of and North Main.
Okay.
I feel like on the initial meeting, we talked about Madawaska Road.
We did.
And it's pretty specific about that.
We did.
And I just don't know, it just didn't really.
But it's being brought up like it was completely omitted. I'm confused now because
But like maybe it's not.
you mentioned
maybe it's
about
not,
adding it.
Maybe it's not part of the project, right? Maybe it's like, hey, state, listen, we did this to help this PPI project. Can you help us by paving this road? Maybe it's not part of the project. Maybe
So
it's a side
the
note.
letter. Okay, I understand that. The letter of intent, what you're suggesting is we will enter an agreement. We do want to work with you. However, we did mention the Madawaska Road being part of this project. Has not been included in the original scope. That needs to be part of the discussion before we start putting boots on the ground. Something like
Something
that.
like that. Get it on the record.
Perfect, yeah, because I thought that was a done deal, honestly, in my mind. Okay. Anything else, council, on that? I mean, it's a simple resolution, and I think those kind of questions will come up a little bit later, but it was a good segue into the discussion now. Nothing else? Very well, hearing none. Since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 22-82, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, resolution 22-82 passes. Catherine, resolution 22-83, please.
Resolution 22-83, resolved that the town council create an ad hoc committee called Planning Partnership Initiative Committee and appoint 7 members to oversee the project, Planning Partnership Initiative for Main Street downtown for the duration of the project.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 22-83.
Second.
Moved and seconded, thank you very much. You'll have the information in the package. Apparently what this is a committee that councilors that have volunteered and citizens that have volunteered shown interest in this to kind of work the project, be the voice, the input, output, not necessarily all through the council, because we expressed interest and desire to have community involvement, business owners or people with a vested interest not only in living here but working here, and the council wouldn't always be the best voice for that. So that's why we had reached out, and I thank Jason and Lindsay for taking that initiative and getting this committee set up. The function of it, I think we'll probably determine that on our first meeting, unless you wrote up bylaws. Shoot. So the functionality of this has yet to be determined. However, this is a group that has volunteered their time and services to kind of act as a liaison. So any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Council, yeah, Brent, please.
I guess I'd like to, if she's willing, I'd like to nominate Heather. She'd be on the committee, if she's willing to do that. I'd like to add her to the list. Is that possible? This is that's we're approving here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean,
I was actually going to ask, none of us, we don't have the packet, so none of us know, what the names are or even who's been submitted or...
well, it is public knowledge. The packet is, the committee members shall be the following volunteers: myself, Eric Saucier, Lindsay Holmstrom, Brent Newhouse, Peter Vigil, Craig Weaver, and Jason Hall.
That's the council package, it's not the public part of it, the agenda.
The public doesn't have these names available.
It doesn't.
It's on the website.
It is public.
Okay. Thank you.
It's the same that it's available, whether it's written on a piece of paper, it's public.
Not trying to put you on the spot, Heather, but I think you'd be a good person for this committee.
I'd be happy to do it. I don't live downtown. I think that
No, but
people would have.
you still represent the town. You're a member of the town.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a closed committee either. You can go to any meeting you
Well, I
want.
know, but I think
You can go to the meeting.
she'd bring a good aspect to it.
If she's willing to do it, are you willing to join the committee?
So it'll be a committee of 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
What's the process for if there needs to be a change in the committee or something? Or is that going to be outlined after the fact, or is this going to be something, because there should be limits to how many people can be on it, you know what I mean?
We're,
Just so
like I
we're
said, there are no
enjoying-
bylaws, we have no guidelines, we have
Right.
no rules. What I'm envisioning is to have the council approve this list of volunteers. This list of volunteers, I would probably take the initial lead, being the mayor, so look, I'll get the contact information. When can everyone meet? Let's do the initial meet, then we'll set some guidelines. We'll, elect or choose a chairperson, get some ideas of what we need to do for action items, then go from there.
Okay.
Because we're really writing it as we go. I
Right.
mean, you and Jason had done the biggest part, just putting names to a list.
Right.
Get to this point. This is just to approve this committee, then the committee will be responsible for identifying how they operate, how they would liaise between the town and the DOT, and some action items and points that they need to follow through.
So what do we do in the case of a 4-4 vote?
Should be.
Should be an odd number. Usually not. Yeah, that's why I went with 7.
You want to say no more than 9 members?
There might be somebody
So,
that comes
so
on.
here's what we've done here on the council. As the mayor, I can be a voting member or I can be a tiebreaker only. It will say it's 3 against 3, and as the mayor, I can make the tiebreak. Otherwise, I normally vote all the time anyway. The chairperson chosen, if that person, the recommendation would be so that we don't have a tie vote, the chairperson will not manipulate. Wrong word for that. Cut, take 2. Would run the meeting as a non-voting member unless required for tiebreak, like the vice president and the senate. So that would be 8 people on the committee, one person being the chairperson will leave 7 voting members.
Sounds fair.
And if one more person wants one there, then the chair would vote. We can have it so that there's.
I would limit it to 9 for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it more than that.
Yeah, but like I said, we can certainly have the 8 members, voting members, but I would suggest where the chair is, keep that in mind so that there isn't a tie. I mean, that's a very valid point, Jason, I wouldn't consider that. Anything else, council? What's that, Eric, you want to join?
He is.
He's already on there.
He's already on there.
All right, very well, hearing none, a second to vote.
We're gonna have
Yeah.
to, we're gonna have to amend it,
Second,
right?
amendment.
We have to amend it, we have to,
We can do that. So, Pete, you made the original motion.
Well, so I will withdraw,
You can withdraw and resubmit as
or I
amended.
can make a motion to amend.
Amend.
I can amend?
Yeah.
Okay, I will make a motion to amend Resolution 22-83 to add Heather Donahue as a member and to have the members not be more than 9.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments on that, council? Very well. Since we're ready to vote on the amended resolution, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-83 as amended passes. So let's move on to Resolution 22-84, please.
Resolution 22-84, resolve that the town council accept the bid of blank in the amount not to exceed blank per yard for winter sand for the 2022-2023 winter season.
Look for a motion from council, please.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 22-84 with the town council to accept the bid from Snowman's Construction of St. Albans in the amount not to exceed $14.50 per yard.
Second. Moving second, thank you. Questions or comments? Donnie, I assume that's why you're here. Anything you want to add to that?
I'll tell you that we put in for a minimum of 1,500 up to 2,000 yards. Considering it's at last year's price, and fuel's $2.50 more a gallon. I think we did a few thousand yards and run with it quick. He was the only bidder. We did have a packet go to a couple other people, and obviously K&F was going to be another bidder, but they passed. They wouldn't have quite met the specs that we had put on the sand, but they said they were looking to do the bid next year. At this point, we're getting good quality sand for a spectacular price, so I'm happy with that.
Okay. Anything, bring up council? Questions, comments? Very well. Hearing none, assess ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 22-84 as notated by Deputy Mayor Lodge, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-84 passes as noted. Let's move on to resolution 22-85, please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-85, resolve that the town council authorize the town manager to execute the sci-fi agreement number 4, 2022 to the police collective bargaining agreement expiring December 31st, 2022 to reinstate the 2 signing bonuses to recruit 2 officers to the force, and sci-fi agreement number 5-2022 to provide a retention incentive for 1 officer on the force who did not qualify for any of the incentives.
I look for a motion from council, please.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 22-85.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded, thank you very much. Catherine, do you want to provide some details on that?
All right, very briefly, the signing bonus is the same signing bonus that we've approved several times. We contacted the police union attorney to see if we would need to do any paperwork, in their opinion, to utilize the signing bonus again, because the 2 officers that had received the signing bonuses both left. One left for another position, a very lucrative one, and one went back to the town city that they worked for. And the police union attorney indicated there should be paperwork to show the history of this. So that was something the town attorney said that I could sign. And then this other issue came up in which the acting chief contacted me regarding one of the officers who didn't qualify for these large signing bonuses, or for the other incentive that the town council had provided last year. And so he had fallen into, just a gray area. So they wanted to increase that individual to go to the next step earlier than normal. And so to retain the individual, this would be less costly than a $7,500 signing bonus at the beginning of the year and another $7,500 signing bonus at the next year. So because number 2 came up, I figured I might as well just give you number 1, the first one too, on the signing bonuses, so you would have everything.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask the one-time elevation to the next step. What exactly does that mean? Promotion?
The
Pay
person
rate?
they would go on a pay rate to the next step earlier than normal.
Yep.
How much earlier?
Pardon?
How much earlier is the step change?
They would be at 18 step now. They would be going to the lateral 5-year step or 60 months. So they're coming in, instead of 18, they're coming in at 60 months.
Instead of 18?
Instead of 18 months, they would come in at 60 months.
So they'll get credit for 5 years instead of a year and a half.
Yes,
A
that would be
step. So
correct.
they go from the pay raise is the union step up to
Yes,
5 years
yes, it's a
now.
one step of 3%.
So that's like a lot early.
It is.
So what qualifications did they not meet? And have they taken any steps to reach those qualifications?
That's a union step.
Right.
It's simply time,
Yeah.
a number of years worked.
Okay.
They
For
went through
a sign-on
season.
bonus though?
Pardon?
For a sign, you said that they did not qualify for a sign-on bonus.
It's a retention bonus essentially, so that they don't leave and go take a different job and make more money elsewhere. This
Correct.
is so.
Yeah.
You need final scheduling clarification on that, please.
Yes.
One ended, the other one started, but this person was in between. I think that needs to be clarified for the council.
Basically, they were in between. So if you worked for another agency and came over here to Pittsfield, the individuals were given a $15,000 signing bonus. They would get $7,500 the day they came in on their first check. And then after 1 year, they would get the other $7,500. So that's $15,000. So the officer who hadn't qualified for anything saw people coming in from the outside getting $15,000. When we gave the COVID bonuses, I was instructed that they would start from the day that COVID was certified by the federal government. And so that person came in a couple of months later, so they didn't get the COVID bonus either. And so the acting police chief indicated that we need to do something for retention. And so what they came up with, rather than a sum of money, because obviously we're not going to get people $15,000 all the time, is to elevate the person to the next level. People coming in from the outside that have 60 months or 5 years have been brought in at that level. So this one-time item for this officer once would move them from the 18-month step to the 60-month step.
So that is only reflected in the pay rate. It's not reflected in seniority or credits for time
No.
served or anything
No.
like that.
Pay rate.
Okay, so the other question I'd like to have clarified, there are no other sleepers in the department that say, hold on, he's getting money, I want to have money too. Because I have heartburn with being kind of held hostage.
No, I understand. No. Because everybody got the signing bonus, or the gentleman that came back who had gone up through the ranks is only going to stay here to December under his part-time reserve status, so he would not qualify for anything. So no, there isn't.
So the bottom line is we have had an issue for 2 or 3 years of getting and retaining qualified police officers in this department. We've been shorthanded for some time now. So it's actually, I would say, as compared to paying this gentleman $15,000 right off the bat, or whatever the terms are to get that, boost them up in the pay.
Sure.
Can I ask
So-
a question?
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
And they're saying this is they do a market adjustment to make it so that this issue happens because they're paying such a premium for brand new nurses that the nurses that have been here 10 years or now their pay is almost at that point and they have all that experience. So it's kind of like they do a market adjustment to bring the rate of pay up for those that already remain so that it's more equitable. The other question I have is, did we do the calculation on the difference between giving a one-time retention bonus versus paying this person that much more an hour over these many years? Because that seems like it's going to be more than $15,000 in the next 5 years. So I just was curious, and whoever sat down with the negotiator, if this was discussed.
Well, let me add another question to that. Was there any other caveats with this officer? I mean, we'll pay you this, but we have to stay here for
Right.
X amount of time.
Like a retention bonus, meaning like usually there's something that holds them if you're going to give away large sums of money like that. And 1 year for $15,000 feels really short. They don't even do that in healthcare. It's like a minimum of 3. So I just don't know how these decisions are made.
Another discussion.
Right, but and I don't know who from this group has these discussions on that.
It was a previous council.
Okay.
So I'd like to open up for discussion at some point, right? However we get that on the books. Monetary fixes are short-lived and are obviously temporary at best. So if we've been having an issue for 2 to 3 years, and we're throwing money at people, and the only way that we're trying to fix this is by continuing to throw more and more money at this issue, then we need to take a moment and look at what our underlying causes are, why we're having such a hard time retaining or gaining employment. Because again, monetary fixes are very, very, very short term, and especially a $15,000 bonus for 1 year. My God.
City of Portland's doing the same thing, but they're only offering, what, 10 grand, 10 to 12. Belfast is offering, I think, 20.
Sure.
So we're
I
certainly
understand
not, it's not a Pittsfield issue. It's a statewide issue, and it's specific to law enforcement because their value increased exponentially. They know it.
But it's not specific to law enforcement because in my and
What we're talking about it is.
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is we see this all the time, and we're seeing money just being thrown at these people instead of fixing cultural issues or employment issues and personnel issues that are causing this rotation. Because for them to get $15,000 for us, and then next year go to Belfast for $10,000, and next year Old Town for $10,000, we just keep rotating the same stock but never improving the longevity of our force, right? I mean, the whole idea behind like the cops grant and that is familiarity with your police force and community involvement integration. And it just seems like we're not tackling any of that. I just see us throwing money at stuff, and that's not a way to fix anything. All that does is cause higher tax bills on all the people that live here. So that's all I'm asking for, is at some point we can kind of tear that down and ask the questions why, right? Not that it's going to fix it tonight. We need to probably do this, right, to stay in a position.
It's a very valid point, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think everyone in this room, not only on the council, will have to agree with you on that. But for a discussion like that is a long-term thing.
Absolutely.
We're short-term. We've got to work on this right now, but that could actually be part of, if we can identify something, I hate to say it, part of a budget talk, could be part of the comprehensive plan, which is another topic we're going to be discussing this evening. You know, that's one of those things that's always been, every council's had that same question mark, and I'll call it a gray cloud, because no town in the state of Maine has no worries. How do we get people to retire? They just won't leave us because they love working for us.
Right.
Who says that? Nobody. Not a municipality, at least not in Maine.
No, I don't think that we're going to solve all our problems that way, right? But we can be the ones that start the forward-thinking piece.
You're absolutely right. Point, very valid point made, and point well taken. Thank you. I agree with you 100% on that.
So what means, if they're getting off to the 60-month point, so what happens when they actually get to the 60 months? Right, so what does that look like? Are they not going to get a raise for the next 3 years?
This is a one-time thing. They're just being boosted up that level early.
But they get paid early for 3.5 years before they've actually met that milestone. So when they get to that milestone, they won't get the step.
That's
They'll
what
have
I'm
already earned
saying.
it.
You're basically putting the stuff out.
Yeah, the next step, I believe.
So why don't we just give them the bonus? The 15 grand and be done. Or what's the math? Has anyone done that?
Yeah, that's my question. I can't vote on this until I know the math. That it's not more money than what we would have given them if we just gave them the sign-on bonus. So I don't know.
Has that been done by the acting chief or union or?
They did do
That's going to be
that.
dependent on overtime and all that stuff.
Yeah, they did do that.
The rate of pay changes are significant, one-time dollar amounts.
So I know you can't give us publicly what that rate is, but you can probably give us the differential, right? Could we be
I'll
providing
give
the
you a
differential?
percentage.
And that's just simple math, 2,080 hours.
We know a percentage,
Based off
that's
the
really comfortable.
Yeah,
A lot of
they have
compensation.
that. I don't have it with me, but I can calculate it pretty quickly. If this works. And it does. All right.
And they do work quite a bit of overtime too. That's going to be.
Yeah, that's going to skew, certainly.
Right, the rate of pay change is usually
But
much
I was just looking at
Just
the
the normal base will give us a good idea.
2,080 hours.
Right, yeah. Give us baseline.
But just something to think about while the numbers being crunched. If we do say, yeah, $15,000 is a lot cheaper and quicker to do, you know, we got budget talks we're going to talk about. We're already talking about record position. We're talking 15 grand for potentially this officer, 15 grand for who else coming up. You know, just something to think about.
Right.
Not to be the gray cloud of your prey, but really good at it.
Right, you get the $15,000 mark, you're going to slow off.
Yeah. What's that?
They get 15,000, how long they gotta sign up to stay?
A year.
Yeah, I'd boost
From
them.
what I understand, yeah, it's a year.
Yeah, I'd bid it squeeze.
Because the two officers who had left recently, we got that money back. Because the second half never got paid out.
Because they didn't even
And
make it.
they're obligated to make the year before they can cash it. I guess they use it, have to pay it back. And they, from what I understand, they did. So we were net zero on those two. So I guess if you want to say that, that's still in the budget.
$7 an hour?
Usually, like 3 years is like a pretty good standard.
Well, this was something that the committee, police negotiating committee from previous councils had decided on.
Yeah, I'm just
And that's-
saying,
yeah, no, I
industry
understand,
standard
yeah.
in healthcare,
Yeah.
it's usually 3 to 5 years
Yeah.
if you're gonna give that kind of money away.
But the other thing, and I wasn't privy to those discussions, but I do understand the pressures that everyone's been under, especially them, is that you've got, and I hate using this word again, but COVID. I mean, that threw everything awry, everything.
Right.
Some things may not come back. I mean, like we've mentioned before, is this going to be a new normal for our number of people who work for this town? Is this going to be the new normal for the police department? Comment was made, well, let's just have Somerset County take up slack. Somerset County is slacked by 15-20% personnel. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it is everywhere. But
It was, the whole idea past the buck was gone.
I think retention bonuses are great. I think that you should have incentives to stay in one place for a long time too, and that should be at certain milestones so they can see it coming and they can plan on it.
All right, we're going to have to use something else. This is not calculating correctly here. So we've got the 3%.
Trash.
3% is added on to the pay. So 3% times 40 hours times 52 weeks for 3 years. This needs to go upstairs here.
So somebody took the 2,080 hours
Yeah.
times 3 years and divided that to the
It's about a
15.
third. It's about a third of the investment doing it over the 3.5 years.
At the one-time bonus pay.
Yep. The one-time bonus would be about 3 times more expensive.
The one-time bonus is 3 times more expensive. So what'd you say? What was the math? Was it 3% of what?
3% over 40 hours, 52 weeks,
3% raise between the steps.
So I took the base salary.
Yeah.
3%.
Right.
So it's $1,500 a year.
Right.
Times 3.5 years, 5,250.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funky.
3% per year.
3% of the wage.
I don't know how to do it without the base rate, which is none of my business. So
here's
how I have to do it, I can't.
Here's
do
a
it.
suggestion.
I just assumed the base rate.
If this is not time limited, Catherine, I will suggest, since there's a lot of confusion, a lot of questions to be had, perhaps we could table this for the next meeting.
Or if you wanted just a short recess, I can go upstairs and calculate it quickly.
What does the council want to do? I'll go with what you want to do.
I think
Want
to
to
delay
table for
giving
next
them-
time, or take a 15-minute recess?
Oh, it could be shorter than that. I just need to add
You
it.
want to table or take a recess? Jason's.
Recess is fine with me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Recess.
Reset.
Recess. Pete? Recess. Brett? Recess.
Yep.
Recess. Okay.
I will be right back. Sorry, this thing's going.
That's all right, Catherine. Thank you.
Transfer station here.
How many one-time exceptions are we going to
We're going to do this the right way by come out. We're going to do a retention bonus based off of 3 years and take that divided by 3. Or
Because the 15, that's not necessarily what we have for COVID bonus either. Right, so the ones that didn't get that didn't get hired on with bonus, got the COVID bonus, but didn't get.
right, that's you probably got it.
No, he's feeling left out, right? Because they can't not talk money. They're talking money to each other. Yeah, everyone else got a bonus.
Susan.
But there is someone to come back to here.
Per day.
Leave, come back.
Every time.
It's just, well, I know it was a one young meeting, I said, you couldn't do
You probably never get.
She said 3%, right?
Yes.
3%.
That's what the normal step rate is each.
Sloan's gonna do 2 more culverts. so-
That's what this rate is.
We're gonna-
I would assume as your tenure goes up, your
Major ones.
probably percentage probably increases.
That sounds
So,
so good.
that's-
3% increase is ridiculous.
Well, so there's usually, no, that's like, that would be like an automatic step increase, but then each year you also get your raise that's associated with your pay. So 3% isn't like all you're gonna get between now and then. So like as a nurse, you can look in a book and it's like from 0 to 40 years of nursing, you can see what every single nurse makes depending on the step that they're on. And then they do market adjustments as inflation happens. So they renegotiate every 3 years. They send out a new book, and all those nurses that were making less because they were been there 5 to 7 years or whatever, they all get brought up to a new level, and then the steps go from there. So it's constantly being adjusted, but you still get your annual raise, and then you get your step on top of it. So it's like you could make 10 to 15% more money in that many years. Like, and I'm sure that's worked. 3% is nothing for these
I don't
officers.
know if that's, I don't know if that's how.
I don't know if the police union works the same way.
I think this is more like your military grade and your step, where E1 X pay, no matter what, doesn't matter. You graduate to your E2, then you go to your next.
But that must
So
change.
what we're comparing is 15,000 based on what this person would get at his rate now. But I think the 3% is what she's saying was the increase. So 3% is on what his pay is now for the next 3.5 years. How does that compare to 15?
So I figured it at a base rate, just.
Right, that's.
Really, over 3 years, $5,200 are you gonna complain about $1,800 a year? Like, is that even worth bringing up to the council to talk about?
To retain qualified and experienced officers.
No, I'm not saying that, I'm saying from 1,000 employees for an $1,800 raise. I don't know, I guess, it doesn't seem like enough to me, honestly.
Yeah.
You mean because you could leave and go make more, just sign on? somewhere.
Absolutely,
But then-
$1,800, I mean.
Right, but then they live, depending on where they live, you know, it's more to move and change jobs.
We'll be working.
I don't know.
It is, so it's, ends up being
Did you get these yet?
$900. Well, depending on your base rate, which we don't know what it is.
They make, they already got you on the spot. They give you a very good job there.
Right. $31.
You got another one.
Yeah, I actually stopped over. I stopped over last week and saw this big meeting with, they were there 2 guys.
Oh, you over there?
Yeah, I see that. They came down, they turned it.
You got no zone base rate?
Yeah, I just go about the number 10.
Making an assumption right off the
All,
wall.
I guess all them, looking at the right on the wall, yeah.
We've had, Mike, haven't we had their rates in public? Isn't that
I'm
on?
not sure.
Union rates aren't published?
No, I thought it was
I'm
on
not
our
sure.
council package.
Not always.
Really?
Depend, I mean, I would think if it's a municipality, it might be,
They're in your
but
budget.
not right,
They're
but
in your
not.
budget book.
Yeah, that's where.
But is it broken down by officer?
Yeah.
It is. So,
Right.
so look at it.
All right, so
All right, go ahead.
the figure that we have is $1.30 per hour going from one pay rate to the next pay rate, which we discussed. And we're talking about a period of 3.5 years ahead of schedule. So as a base, that's $9,464, and then you would have overtime. I think it was calculated around 10,000.
So $9,700 from now until the 3.5 years where his rate would actually jump as compared to the $15,000 bonus now.
Plus, there would be some overtime, but he doesn't.
Understood.
He doesn't work
Yeah,
a lot.
understood. So, question being, 2 signing bonuses reinstate for 2 officers that we're bringing on board, and the other part 2 of that was to retain the current officer now. They have requested just a rate increase to a 5-year level at but however, this person's only at a year and a half level. That's where you get 18 and 16. So this person has requested, the acting chief and the union has requested that to retain this officer, that we boost his pay to reflect a 5-year rate early. Which calculations is 9,700 plus or minus straight pay only. So overtime will skew it, of course. Over 3.5 years. So if you're looking at base numbers right now, that would be the most fiscal choice we would make, as compared to going back to them and saying, no, we just want you to take the bonus and go with the same rate.
Well, the bonus presents more risk anyway in this case because he gets it up front, and in this case, he has to be here for 3.5 years to get all that money. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's actually like an easier way to just satisfy that need. But
So
That makes it fiscally right by the town, but does it make it right by him, right? Because we're basically saying for 8.5 years.
well, he is being represented by his acting chief. We're not telling him this is what we're going to give you. This is represented to us. We're reacting to what the acting chief has brought to us to retain his officer.
I guess.
That was their, so bottom line, it was their idea.
Are we requiring any type of, I mean, obviously, to your point, it's 3 years to get that amount of money, but are we requiring any retention? Is there any piece to that as well? If it's being
Not for pay,
retention,
not for
bonus,
pay
is
increase
that
to the 5-year level.
nothing?
Until you get that, at least a month.
it does make sense from a market adjustment. I mean, from the perspective of if you're here and if you don't change anything and inflation goes crazy, like you lose money. Like this guy's losing money. Like not, I mean, he'll get a raise, I'm sure, in some other fashion. Is this all they get, Catherine? Is this it, the steps, or do they get annual cost of living? Like, do they get other raises?
They get just a step,
That's it. So this is
3%.
3%.
That's what they get every year.
No, not every year, just once every step.
In the contract, it has 3 and 2 years. This is a 3 year, 3%. 3% and 2% in the contract. Now, the contract expires on 12/31, so these sidebar things should go away, and everything will come forward to be negotiated.
so they'll renegotiate wages in general,
Yes.
probably. I'm sure. So they'll make up for that.
Yeah,
that
it's
makes
market
me feel better.
adjustments,
Yeah. So he's going to get up there anyway when they renegotiate. Honestly, same with teachers. It's going to happen to everybody. But okay.
So are there any other questions or comments? Are we satisfied to make the vote? You all set, gentlemen?
Yep.
Ladies? Very well. Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 22-85, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-85 passes. Catherine, let's move on to resolution 22-86, please.
Resolution 22-86. Resolved that the Town Council approve the request for proposals for consulting services to update the Town of Pittsfield's 2013 Comprehensive Plan adopted August 6, 2013, and authorize the Town Manager and Planning Board to seek bids for same.
I'll look for a motion from council, please.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 22-86.
Second. Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions or comments? This is what we discussed the last meeting about reviewing the comp plan, and the first step is see how much it's going to cost us, especially in this budget season. So this is just giving the town manager approval to send out for pricing. Any questions or comments on that? Very well, hearing none, since we're ready to vote. So all those in favor of resolution 22-86, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, resolution 22-86 passes. Catherine, let's move on to resolution 22-87, please.
Resolution 22-87. Resolved that the Town Council approve the request for proposals for consulting services to update the town of Pittsfield's assessing records and authorize the town manager to seek bids for the same.
Look for a motion from council, please.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 22-87.
One second. Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Questions or comments on this? Similar to what we discussed last time about looking for RFPs on that. Been 20 plus years since I've been there, 23, 24 years. So as Catherine has written in there, you know, with the changes in the town, the dynamics that we're experiencing now, we're not getting the real fruits of our labor. Puritan being here, Trimber's been a stalwart. We've got CEO pushing Catherine, the CEO, to get things cleaned up, make the town a little bit more desirable. I think it's time to relook at that. So this is just the same, giving the town manager approval to go out for pricing on this to see if it's even within our realm at this time. Any questions or comments, council? Very well. Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 22-87, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-87 passes. And we'll wrap up with resolution 22-88. Please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-88, resolve that the town council approve the request for proposals for document management solutions and digitizing document services and authorize the town manager and town clerk to seek bids for same.
Look for a motion from council, please.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 22-88.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Similar instance to the last two. We talked about this and looked at the pricing on this. One thing, and I think when it gets to that point, we'll probably bring that up. One point that Lindsay had made about one thing having it all digitized, but provide some kind of infrastructure, intellectual infrastructure or training so that not only the people directly in the office, the people working the town use the same kind of filing system or same kind of how they handle their files, so that it's consistent, so that we don't 15 years from now another council sitting here bored with all those losses come from.
So that would be part of the record management system. So this is sort of an exploratory.
Yeah, no, understood. Understood. There's an excellent point that Lindsay brought up last time about that. It's one thing to, fix the bucket. You still need a well to fill it. I just came up with that. That was a good one.
Wes.
All right. Any questions or comments, council? Very well. Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 22-88, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-88 passes. So let's move on to number 8. Discussion items. There are none, and we shall segue into number 9, reports. We shall start with the audience. Ladies first. Heather, anything you'd like to bring up?
Couple of things. A reminder that the Main Cheese Festival is this Sunday, 11 to 6. Our morning session has sold out. We're looking at filling the afternoon session. We have about 57 vendors, 23 cheesemakers, 8 food trucks, 32 non-cheese vendors, 6 alcohol vendors, and then our caterer will be in the beer garden as well.
1 calf, 2 goats.
1 calf, 2 goats.
And you have me at alcohol, so yeah.
Yeah. The town is going to have a booth under the big tent. It's going to be a beautiful day, about 80 degrees and sunny. And Mayor Chinchette is going to be down there for a little while. Gary Jordan is going to be down there for a little while. They could probably use somebody to keep them company so they're not lonely at the table. So they'll need one more person in the morning.
What are you doing Sunday, Pete? You busy?
Yes.
You tied up? Yeah. How many are surprised at that answer?
What a terrible liar. Jeez.
Anyway, it's your table to fill. So morning session sold out. Come to the afternoon session. You can use it to celebrate the Patriots win, because apparently they have opening day game on Sunday too. The other thing I wanted to say is just listening to some of the comments and conversations around the police pay issue and those types of things, and debating the value of the 1 year versus the 3 year versus the steps and everything. It's really confusing the way it's structured. I just want to encourage you to think about those conversations about, 3% isn't much over a year. That people are losing money with inflation if they're only getting a 3% raise. And consider those conversations when you go to the budget time and you're considering pay adjustments for all of the town employees. And kind of keep that in the back of your mind, that all of the town employees are valuable and that they all need to have that consideration when you're talking about their employment status. Retention is an issue in all the departments, and Ron had asked, why is money a solution? Why do we keep throwing money at this problem? It's because the council was told that the money was the issue that was going to solve the problem of retention and recruitment for the last 4 years. That's why this came out, and this is the vehicle, these sidebars are the vehicle for that to happen with the union.
Sure.
And it all has to go through the union, so that's why it always comes back to the money part of it. And a lot of times, money is the solution. And the council's job is there's a lot of budgetary stuff, so it does feel like you're spending money all the time, because you kind of are, and making those decisions. But, if you want to improve working conditions, it takes money to do that. We're talking about improving the officers' working conditions by getting those carrier vests for them and changing things in the cars for them so that it's more ergonomic. That takes money. You want to improve that. That takes money. Health program, that takes money. Other staffing issues with pay rates going like fast food places, a lot of our employees could go work at fast food places and actually make more of an hourly wage. And so some of that's been fixed in the past years, and then we lost that ground because of COVID and the changes in the minimum wage for the state as well. We lost that ground that we were gaining by increasing the pay and the budgeting. It's not an easy thing to go around, and it's difficult to have conversations about people's pay rates in public. It's a really awkward thing to do. So just I encourage you to be mindful of that when you're going through the budgeting process. That's it.
All right, thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Mr. Shute, anything you'd like to bring up?
Just like to point out that there's a lot of activity going on in town. So if you're seeing culverts put in, and paving being done, and ditching being done, it's nice at the end of the day to have people that are appreciative. There's a lot of ungrateful people out there that are screaming and hollering, and it's taking more than 30 seconds to get from here to Newport. I guess progress means that there may be a little bit of inconvenience out there, and unfortunately, we've got to set up work zones and stuff, but the work's getting done. If you haven't noticed, all the culvert work, everything that's been getting done over the past year, I will commend everybody that's pitching in and doing a lot of work. So just be mindful of that. When you call them an idiot or something side the road and they're taking up 2 minutes of your time and they're fixing the end of your driveway while they're paving, it's probably a good thing. They don't have to be there. So just pay attention for them. They're out there working. We've got our signs up. You're going to see more work the next month. So hopefully more people will be more appreciative that things are getting done. I hope you're seeing it. It's happening all over the place.
Well, we're seeing it's taking me 30 seconds more to get to Newport.
I don't know. It's, there are people that work at 8 o'clock that leave at 2 minutes to 8 and think that they're going to go to Dunkin' Donuts up here and get a coffee and be there by 8 o'clock. It's not going to happen. So there's a lot of work going on. Any issues, please? There's been a few communication issues from past public works people, and there's also been some confusion that people are asking about scope of the work and things that are happening, and they're asking guys that don't know. So I'm getting that after the fact that, well, so-and-so told me that you were going to dig up this whole street and you're going to put all in water and sewer lines and you're going to pave this and you're going to paint my house. And no,
They shouldn't speak if they don't know. They say go.
Right.
Go
So,
to-
and there's
talk
been
to my
some,
boss.
obviously me and Catherine have been working on that. There's been some communications and some things weren't passed down the line. And, we've got a guy that's been here for 43 years that's going to be leaving us this fall. And a wealth of knowledge there too that's going to go. So we're learning. So we've got some younger guys that are learning, trying to figure things out. And we're going in a positive direction. So we appreciate the confidence in us to be able to do it. We try to do the best we can, and if something bothers you, my phone's always on. You can call me, text me, and if you've got questions, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability.
I feel like, to your point though, the next time we do spend $1 million on something, whether it's paving or culverts or bridges, it probably wouldn't hurt to put a mailer out or flyer or something in the mail. I know it's public knowledge, anyone can watch the video, right? But if you put it in front of them, it could eliminate a lot of that. Hey, you moron, you're in the middle of the road. Like, maybe people knew more about what was going on. Not necessarily over communicate, but communicate. Especially when you spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we're doing fine so far, so we're going to gain a little bit on some ends. So at some point we'll be back before it's all over, and hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit more with what we got. So
Good.
All set?
yeah, use every penny. Get it done.
All right, Don, thank you. So I will move to the council. I'll start with Deputy Mayor Loddice.
No reports.
No reports. Councilor Frost. No report. Councilor Holmstrom.
Thank you for all that you do. I definitely notice all the work going on. It's good to see things happening, and even some of these properties that are a little on the list or kind of things that are kind of sort of starting to happen. That's exciting. Patience is a virtue. I've never been as patient as I probably should be, so I'm trying to be more patient, but I appreciate that. And I just want to be able to take as much positive action as I can as a counselor in my time here, and I'll be getting my papers tonight and running again, so hopefully I'll be able to stay with you guys. But yeah, no, I appreciate the work that's being done and look forward to getting the budget underway.
So you are going to run again?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one off my list. Good. All right. Councilor Jester.
I'm just going to thank everybody for their input tonight on these topics as far as how do we make this town better, right around the recruitment piece, around retention, around wages. Spending money and having that discussion about wages, especially when it's an individual or somebody extremely important and vital to this community, is difficult. And it should be taken with that level of responsibility and care. At the same time, it's necessary to always be responsible in your spending. There is nothing wrong with spending money, but spending it the right way is the only way to do it. And just because somebody tells you it's the way to solve a problem, history also tells us that we have evidence that sometimes money does not solve problems. And responsible spending, while being targeted in your approach to make things better is the best way. So I hope that that's a challenge that we can lay down, and that all of us are willing to pick that challenge up and run with it over the next year or so and really make a difference here, right? And make this a community that we all seem to think that it is. But we do appreciate the work that Public Works is doing. We see it every day. I think you just made my trip across Waverly Avenue much better already. Oh my God. Riding that 3/4 ton pickup across that road has not been fun for years, so thank you. No, it's good to see it happening around this town and see some positive things happening and the excitement level starting to build, so I'm glad to see it. That's it for me.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Saucer.
I just want to reiterate on that there is a lot of good stuff going on in the town, especially with the public works, and we're spending a lot of money in there, and it's good that it needs to happen, and we're seeing the results, which is great. I'm anxious for this upcoming budget season because I think we're going to have some major challenges because the way everything is, the cost is blowing up. I mean, it's going to be, who could possibly hold the line on a year like this? That's all I want to know. Like, if you held the line, I'd be really, really impressed. And it's a challenge for all of us to figure out how to do it. But with the cost of everything going up the way it is, and what we want to see happen in the town, and the vision of everyone here, it's how do you do that and not bankrupt yourself, right? How do you do that without going overboard? And it's a wicked challenge. I mean, it's more than, from the outside looking in, before you really consider all the different elements of the whole picture, it seems like, oh, this is simple. I'm telling you, I'm learning quickly. It's a 10-headed monster, and if you pull a little bit from over here, the head gets bigger over here, right? So we just got to figure out how we grow and make it better without killing ourselves and making it so people can still afford to live here. Yeah, I want to give raises, right? I think everyone, if inflation went up 9.8%, I'm not saying everyone gets 10% raise, but I think people deserve to not go backwards, right? But how do you do that without the town? You got to take care of the town first, right? That's just like a business. Take care of the business takes care of you. Well, we got to do the same thing here. It's kind of daunting. I'm kind of wrapping my head around it, and I'm not even close, to be honest with you. So hopefully, flexibly, we can figure it out.
What's up?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Council Hall.
Yeah, just wanted to thank Public Works again for all their paving challenges, and I know a couple residents have had some complaints, and they've commended Donnie for being there and sorting out some of the issues that they've had. So that's been really good. Also, there's a lot of work going on, obviously, upstairs with the trio transition and billing and all of that stuff. So it's good to see that we're going to get, the tax things out and the water and sewer out, and everybody up there is appreciated by us and most of the community. Although maybe they don't voice it as much as they should, but no, just thank you for everybody and their hard work. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. I'll try to be brief as possible. I'm also a politician, so I tend to not. So I just want to start off, the last concert of the summer series was this past week, and I don't know if anyone realized Jan and Barb Lux do that almost single-handedly. Doesn't cost the town a penny, other than maybe Public Works goes up there, make sure the lights are working on the gazebo, or MCI is involved if we use the gym. So it's all business supported, and that's off the blood, sweat, and tears of Jan and Barb, knocking on doors, making calls, getting these people in place, make sure they're all set. So it's a big deal, so I think they should be commended. If you see them, say hi and thank you, and if you know them, send them a quick text, thank you. So I want to segue into a comment I want to throw in there. We've been talking the budget back and forth because we're just all getting giddy. Budget season's coming up. We were talking before about the full-time, potentially a full-time rec director. So if we do that, I would highly recommend that part of the reason that we do have a full-time rec director is that this person will be charged with a summer concert series so that we can have Jan and Barb volunteer or be consultants. I mean, if we have a full-time rec director, that can certainly be part of that process. It won't be just softball and arts and crafts in the wintertime. I mean, this person can be like a recreation and entertainment, not only for the youth of the town, but for the adults and the elderly. So it's just something I want to put out there as a thought. So there's those two. A quick question I want to ask. We'll do another time. I don't want to talk about tonight. So we had talked a number of times in several iterations and several different councils about reviewing the charter. A number of instances, I believe the credit card usage is referenced in there somehow, and that's part of the thing. So what I'd like to ask and or challenge the council here is that between now and December 1st, take a look through the charter. See if there's something that you would want to entertain being discussed. I know there are a couple items that several of us have reviewed. There's a couple on my mind that I'd kind of like to have reviewed. That's going to be a long process, so what I'd like to do is have some feedback from each of you. And let's consolidate a list December 1st, and hopefully if Lindsay, you're back on the council, we'll have the same group. And I figured January, February, maybe March, we can start looking at that in earnest. Because I believe it's not a town thing. If we need to make changes or desire to make changes, it involves the state. So it's going to be a process. And we've always already had some kind of input from the town attorney on that it's doable. So that's what I want to challenge everyone about on this council now. Budget season is coming up, and in all seriousness, it's not going to be pleasant. I hear exactly what you're saying. We all know that. It's just what we'd like to have and what we have to do. We got to try to minimize the gap and lessen the pain somehow. So that's really all I have for this evening. So with that, I will look for a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Yeah, something like that.